All right, so it looks like we're live, guys. And I think there's a lot of stuff we kind of want to discuss tonight. Tonight after the first two games of the NLDS. So we have joining us is Carlos Alfaro, and Jason the Boatman is making a return. We haven't talked to Jason in a while, so I'm definitely interested to hear what Jason has to say of what's gone over the last couple of days. So, but before we get going with that, let me go ahead and take care of the business really quick. So, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get into the 200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at a weekly prize and share of 200,000. When the game is over, head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in all the action. Bet online, the game starts here. So, like I was saying, NLDS is in full swing. We got 2 games in. It's split 1-1. You know, I mean, I guess it's kind of what a lot of people were expecting, right? After 2 games, 1-0, right? Didn't really expect, either team probably being up 2-0. First game, Dodgers go ahead and win that. They come back, they win that with a Shohei Otani home run, gets them tied, and they come back and win. Second game kind of, starts out pretty similar, but by the end of the game, they end up getting blown out. So first off, Jason, I know you were at game one. Were you at game two by chance, or was it just game one?
No, thankfully I didn't spend my money on game two. I was just at game one.
Okay. So how was game one? I mean, just that whole environment, right? That whole, that Otani home run. I mean, I was watching on TV and just seeing him hit that home run. He does that. You can tell he yelled, "Let's go!" He throws his bat. I mean, just the excitement in the stadium. I'd imagine was just off the hook.
Oh yeah, that place exploded. I mean, when he hit that 3-run home run, it absolutely exploded. They needed that because the crowd was down, right? I mean, the Padres 2 games in a row now have taken the crowd out of the game pretty early in the game. So I want to talk about that too. And so that happened. So to see him come back right away and answer with a 3-run bomb like that, that place went nuts. And from then on, I mean, even when we were down 5-3 again, it was a close game. It was a good game the whole way. And up until I mean, really up to the last out, it was an intense game. But the atmosphere was there. The fans were in it. They did their job, and that was great to see. The players were in it, did their job. I think Yamamoto, I think we would have liked to have seen a little bit more out of him than just the 2 innings that he gave us. But impressive bullpen, right? I mean, going 7 innings, holding it strong, really impressed well. So I think that break helped quite a bit for the Dodgers in terms of the bullpen. I think getting them well rested, but environment was great. It was a great game. That was game one. The bats, were alive, and and the bullpen was there. So, other than the first 2 innings for Yamamoto, everything else seemed to be clicking after during game one.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit, and we'll get into game two. Obviously, like we said, they end up losing. It's ugly by the time the game ends, right? It's what 10-2. But we were discussing this in our group chat and with Carlos, right? Yeah, they lost, but at the end of the day, it was one loss, right? It's 1-1. It's an ugly loss, right? But at the end of the day, it's 1-1, right, Carlos?
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't matter if it's 100-1, 1-0. It's just one loss. It's one. We're tied 1-1. It's not the end of the world. We're not 2-0 going down to San Diego. It's 1-1. We got to win one game down in San Diego, to get the series back up to LA, to Dodger Stadium. So yeah, like Jason was saying, the first game was amazing. I was at the casino watching the game, and there was a couple of Padre fans, a lot of Dodger fans, and as soon as they hit the ball, everybody went crazy. Everybody just knew it was a home run. I mean, Otani, who's not, really that flashy before he was a Dodger. I mean, he threw that bat. He threw it like almost like a samurai sword, and throws that thing across, towards the dugout. There was a Potter's dugout, so it was cool to see him show all that emotion, rallying the bases. He's telling his team to get up, and then getting the sunflower seeds splash on his face. That's what you need from the team. We need leaders. We need everybody's a player. I get it, but we need some guys to step up, get everybody pumped up. Just like just like in concerts, concert, you got the hype man, right? They call him the hype man. You got to get that, and that's what Otani is doing, and I think that's great. First game, like also Jason said, the bullpen was amazing. Yeah, unfortunately Yamamoto, it's not the guy. We had even said it. I know that some of the guys on the live had said that he was going to go 6. I mean, that was like wishful thinking. We knew this guy wasn't going to go that far. He just doesn't have it. Hopefully next year will be a better year for him. He's going to have to pitch more games in the playoffs though. But I think like we were saying, we are built. The starting pitcher's built 4 or 5 innings, and then it's bullpen time, and that's exactly what we had. We said they're going to be a rested bullpen, and we had it. And so besides that, Hernandez had a great single where I believe he scores 2 runs, and the Jackson Merrill couldn't catch that ball. So, those 2 guys, Otani and Hernandez brought in 5 runs of the 7 runs. So these 2 guys are the difference makers in the Dodgers this season, because they haven't been with the Dodgers in previous playoffs. So, you know, I know we're going to touch on game number 2, but so game number 1, everything looked great. I mean, everything was positive until game 2.
Yeah, so I want to get into so game 2. So the game starts off right. Flaherty gives up 1 run in that first inning, right? It's 1-0, right? Obviously, you don't want to go down, but one run, everybody's like, okay, it was 1 run, it wasn't 3, it wasn't 5, it wasn't 6, right? One run, they can come back, and it looks like that bottom half looks like Mookie Betts, who's been struggling, right? And we all know he's been struggling, but it looks like he got one, and he looks like it's going out, right? And you see Profar going back to the short fence. He kind of reaches in, and then we don't know what's going on. It's like, is the ball out? Did he catch it? What? And Mookie's running around second, right? He's doing his trot, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, he caught the ball and he throws it, and then you see him kind of like he starts jumping up back, and as he's backing up away from the crowd. So I knew that he caught it, just because Profar is that type of player that would do something like that. I don't know if I told you guys. I've said this before. Profar is MLB's version of J.R. Smith. I think I said this on this podcast before. He is baseball's version of J.R.
I like that.
So, he ends up catching the ball, right? He throws it back in, and he's all like, giddy, whatever, right? He caught a ball. They even do an interview with him after. He's all like, giddy, I always wanted to catch a home run ball, whatever. Jason, what did you think? Were you like me too? Did you know that he caught the ball, or did you think that was a home run?
I was confused, and so I actually thought that the ball went in the glove, and I thought it came out at first. That's what I thought, and at the moment I thought it was a home run. But then again, the second thing came to my head. I said, "Well, wait a second. He probably had possession of it, and then afterwards it came out, which at that point would be an out anyways." It wasn't until later when I saw the replay where it showed him throwing the ball back, I should say, into the infield. Said, "Oh, this guy actually caught it." So yeah, it was a little showboating there, holding it for the fans. I thought it went in his glove, and I thought he had dropped it, to be honest with you. But yeah, I was wrong. I mean, kudos to the guy for the catch, but. I love the analogy, though, of J.R. Smith. I think that's pretty spot on for Profar.
And Carlos, I know we were talking about this earlier, like about the guy that could have caught the ball, right? Like he didn't try and do it. He didn't have a glove, right? So a lot of people on social media were kind of going after this guy already because, like, because he was within his reach. Right? I mean, within his rights. He could have got in front of him and tried to catch the ball because he wouldn't be interfering in a ball that's actually in play. It's already out. What were your thoughts on that? And did you think he caught the ball?
Yeah, a couple of things. First, we gotta like elaborate on J.R. Smith for our the viewers. J.R. Smith, he's throwing those gang signs, huh? When he was playing, right? When he would make a crazy bucket, he would throw gang signs and stuff like that. I mean, Profar, I could see him, somewhat like J.R. Smith. It's funny because in that moment when that happens, when he goes out into the stands, you never see the ball, so you make the assumption that he had caught it. I felt bad for Betts because Betts is rounding second base and he's pumping his fist. I think you catch him on the camera, and then all of a sudden they pan back to Profar and he's like bouncing back away from the stands, and so then he had caught it. The crazy part is that the fans, man, these fans out there, they got to know the rules, right? If the ball is in outside of the field of play, it's like a free ball. Anybody can grab it. They could literally take his glove off, and there would be no interference. And I wouldn't give the guy's name who came out that he didn't catch the ball. His name is Mario. I don't know I forget his last name, but I don't know why they give Mario a hard time. There's a lady next to him with a glove. If Mario had brought a glove, he would have caught it. And I know that the sportscasters are always giving fans a hard time for saying, "Oh, why these grown men bringing gloves?" Well, this is the reason why you should have brought a glove if you sit in that section. Any fan right there, if they had a glove, they would have caught it. There's no way, no way
Yeah.
Profar's
It
catching
wasn't
it.
even a line drive either. I mean, you had
It
all the
wasn't.
time in the world to catch that if you had a
Yeah,
glove, right? That's why you take a
exactly.
glove. Yeah.
Exactly. And look, I don't want to brag, man, because I used to go to batting practice a lot. And I remember one time I was with my son, and it was a pop-up home run during batting practice. And I remember it was Shelby Miller was about to catch it, and I reached out with my bare hands and I snatched it from Shelby Miller. So that's what these guys should have been trying to do, is just try to block this ball. But I think that these guys were scared that, oh, if I block it, it's interference, it's gonna be a home run anyways. No, it's out of the field of play. Should have tried to block it. The girl should have reached out, should have knocked his glove. But I know they're saying in the news, because they interviewed the guy Mario, and he's saying that in that moment, no, I couldn't think. No one can think that fast. Well, I don't know about that, because shit, if you know the game, you got to fight for your team. And but anyways, so yeah, Profar showboats, and that's the beginning of what takes place later on in the game. Because this guy, he's kind of like, he's become like number one hated Padre now. He bypassed Manny. Manny used to be our top booing guy. Now it's Profar, and now every time he comes to Dodger Stadium, he does something new that makes us dislike him even more.
Yeah, I mean, so Profar has always been kind of like right up there on my list, because just because the type of player he is. But fast forward from that, right? The game's moving along. It was a game I felt Dodgers could have done something, right? It was they end up getting a run a couple innings later, right? It's 3-1. So it's pretty close game, and then all of a sudden we get this. Well, let's say the hit by pitch that happened before the commotion, right? Where Tatis got hit, right? Okay, so prior to that, so Tatis gets hit by a pitch by Flaherty, and from the moment he gets hit, right, you can tell that Tatis took exception to it. The way he's kind of smirking and smugging, and he's walking to first, kind of like thinking like this was intentional, right? And then so he goes to first, and then later on in that same inning, Machado comes up, and I think I have the footage of that where Flaherty strikes him out, and then as he's walking away, he says some words to him. So let me go ahead and play that.
Here's the 3-2. Trying to chase the fastball. Took it a little bit further outside, and Machado went after it. Let's see, that's what happens. Even though it was a finish. They're still chirping, John. How are we going to get through this series without things boiling over? I don't know. Good TV, right? They're here for the people. Jack Flaherty, Manny Machado. You could read Manny's lips.
So a couple of things with that, obviously I don't believe there was any intention in that, right? There's no intention, right? You're down, you're still within striking distance, and you're not going to hit a player, right, to get them on board, right? Is that kind of where you guys are thinking as well, right? Jason, do you think any intention in that?
I don't know. I'm going to disagree a little bit. I think he had control of the game. I think he might have. I think Flaherty might have gone after him, to be honest with you, and I'm okay with that. You can usually tell when a guy has control of their pitches if this is a game where he was intentionally trying to hit a guy or not. He might have gone after him on purpose, but he didn't go to his head. He went to his hip. The problem with a lot of these ball players, and I'm going to sound like an old guy when I say this, right? But is that they're soft. This is a very soft generation of baseball players. I mean, this going back and forth and jabbing over what? Because a guy got hit on the hip? You know what I mean? That would have never happened 15 years ago, 30 years ago, you name it. So I think he did go after him a little bit. I'm okay with that. To me, the only MVP of yesterday's game was Flaherty. he went 6 1/3 or so, or 6 2/3. He did okay. I know eventually I think got that 4th earned run that went in, but he did his job. He is what he is. He's a 3-something ERA guy. He's going to give up 3 runs in about 6 innings or so. He did that yesterday, kept us in the game. But the reason why I give him the MVP of the game for the Dodgers, if we had one, is because he's the only one with the cojones out there. That is the problem with the Dodgers right now, to be honest with you. And I don't want to veer off here, but we can criticize the Padres all we want. They got swagger. They got something about them that we don't have. And yes, they have an attitude. They have, you can hate them and all they want, but they're comfortable in their own skin. They love what they're doing out there. They're having so much fun and they're playing like it. And that's the way they come out with that swagger. And Flaherty was the only one out there yesterday, really, that showed that kind of intensity. So if he did hit him on the hip, good for him. And I'm glad he stood up there and started enjoying. I didn't know Flaherty had it in him like that, to be honest with you. I have 10 times more respect for Flaherty today than what I did yesterday. And I hope, and again, I don't blame Dave Roberts for any game 1 or game 2, and I've criticized him on this show before. And you know what? I didn't see him do anything crazy yet, but it's still early in the postseason. But I will say this, and this is my biggest critique of Dave Roberts. I don't see him as the guy that's going to go back there and fire these guys up. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And that's what the Dodgers need. They need that Tommy Lasorda moment. I'm going to look at Machado, and for all you want to say about Machado, you saw him bring the team together and huddle. I mean, so it's little things like that. So don't mean to veer off a little bit, but yesterday's game really angered me on a lot of different levels, and that is one of them. And so anyway, I think he hit him. Yeah, I think he did hit him on purpose, and I'm okay with that. It's very, very maddening to see the way the Dodgers are carrying themselves in the postseason, and I think it starts with the management and the way they're being managed. I just don't see that fire coming out. Yeah, I have more to say, but you got me going with that.
I'll get into that too, because I have kind of similar thoughts on that as well. And if you listen to when they were talking to Flaherty after the game, he was saying, you know what? I was pitching him inside because that's the pitcher's plate, right? And they don't want players to be right up on top of it.
Sure.
So he was saying, I'm pitching them inside, right? So it kind of was like one of those, like, if it hits him, it hits him kind of. But I don't think it was directly intentional trying to hit him. He's just trying to take back what's his in his part of the plate, right? Carlos, what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, look, I don't think it was intentional. I mean, the game was 3-1. He had him an 0-1 count. I mean, we're in the game. We're in this game to win this game, not to tie the series. So I don't see that it was intentional. And I agree with you with pitching him inside. The strike number 1 was inside. This one was further inside. But I also agree with Jason. If he did hit him intentionally, so what? That's part of the game. You want to control the zone, and this guy's crowding the plate or whatever it is. You can't get him out. Fine, whatever. But I just don't see that from Jack. I did like his fiery attitude after he strikes out Machado and says, "Go sit the F down, mother effer." I love that. I think you're right. Dodgers don't have that, but the Dodgers don't have that because I don't know if it's a fan base. I don't know if it's management. The fans don't like Manny when he was a Dodger. Why? Because he wouldn't hustle down first base on the freaking ground ball because that's his attitude. They don't like Tatis because he's a showboat. Dodgers just, like I said, I don't know if it's a fan base. I don't know if it's management, but we don't like those kind of players, and that's why those players, they mesh well with the Padres. The San Diego fan base, they love that. Tatis is a showboat, and he's a great player. He backs it up with his play. He's definitely a good player. Profar, same crap. He talks a lot, but he's backing it up this season. We were talking earlier. It took him 12 years to be irrelevant. Before the 12 years, he was irrelevant, which was true. Smith got that right, except this year, it wasn't the year he wasn't irrelevant. And then I do want to go back to something Matty Man said. Look, I'm not saying that we're blaming the fan for not blocking the ball, not catching the ball, but that play does change at least the beginning of the game, not the outcome of the game. Who knows what happens or how that changes what happens next and how it pumps him up. I mean, it definitely would have built Betts' confidence if he hits a home run. That's for sure. I bet Betts is not moping around after the game in the post game interviews if he hits that home run. So in that regard, it does change some things.
So I want to touch on what you said about Flaherty, being pumped up and fired up. I love that. I love to see that, and I love that he was out there. He was barking at Manny, right? And like you mentioned, biggest differences that I saw too, and personally like annoyed me as well with that is Flaherty was up there, and I didn't see anybody there with him. I didn't see any of his teammates there with him.
Nope.
Nobody else backing him up. Now, right or wrong for whatever Machado does or whatever Profar does, whatever, they all were there backing each other up, right? They were all a team. They were a unit, right? And I think that's where it got away from the Dodgers yesterday, because then things just kind of spiraled out of control. I love that attitude from Flaherty. This is the playoffs, right? And you're saying, okay, somebody needs to fire these guys up, and you'd say, okay, it's Roberts. You know what? I don't agree with that, because this is MLB, the highest of the highest. These guys are the top of their profession, the top of their game. If these guys aren't fired up to be in a freaking playoff game, on the Dodgers versus Padres, then we have a problem there. It's not Roberts' job to be going in there, hey, let's get fired up. We're playing a playoff game today. These players have to have that fire. And that's the way I see it. But like I said, what kind of bugged me there is I don't know if there was any other players around Flaherty that were yelling back, but that kind of did irk me.
Yeah, it's a very different look. This is going to be another strange take, but follow me here. When you take a look at the Dodgers' top 3 players, argumentatively, whatever. And when I say that, you're thinking immediately Betts, Freeman, Ohtani, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, I'm going to go with the top 3 of the lineup, let's just say. When you take a look at the top 3 guys, the top 3 names that pop in your head for the Padres, look at those personalities versus our personalities. All I'm trying to say is our guys are really nice guys, and that's great, but that's what they are, nice guys. Mookie Betts, he's a really nice guy. Probably love to go bowling with the guy. But he doesn't have that fire. He's just a really cool thing. And he probably doesn't care a whole lot because he's out there doing podcasts with the enemy a week or so ago, which is ridiculous. That's another thing I would love to talk about. Freeman, nice guy. Shohei Ohtani doesn't really speak the language. And I hate to say that and put that on, because remember, we talked about that, Roger, about a year ago. We talked about the cultural thing and all that. Amazing player, one of a kind, all those things, yada, yada, yada. But you're not going to see Ohtani do that. That's not what he got hired to do. But you do see other players that make $300-400 million sometimes do that, and I expect that. You get that from Tatis. You get that from Machado. You get that from their best players.
Even from Ohtani, though, you see the fire from Ohtani. You see him when he hit that home run. You see that he has that fire to play the game. I don't think he's not someone that's going to go and try and
he's not going to give a speech.
But
he's not going to give a speech to the team
or trying to, like I said, or fight somebody. I don't need the fire to fight somebody either. I need the fire to play the game, right? I need that emotion to play the game and to go out there and try and win. And that's what I'm saying. Everything that went down yesterday, I'm hoping the Dodgers are looking at it. They're seeing that's going to fire them up to come out to play strong in Game 3, right? That's kind of, we need them to see kind of what they're made of and how they're going to come out in Game 3.
Yeah, the closest team that I can remember that we had, not that I want to go live in the past, but that team where you had Hanley Ramirez on that team back then, you had Matt, all these guys out there. That team had a little bit of swagger, and I think that's what's missing since then from the Dodgers. You can say what you want about a guy like Yasiel Puig, who I would love to still have on the ball club, but he's not. And I think, I don't know which one of you said this a moment ago, maybe it's the culture that this team tried to build. And I've heard that, and I've read that in the past also, that Andrew Freeman is building a certain personality and a certain persona behind the scenes of the kind of player that he wants, right? And that's okay. There are a lot of nice, good guys out there, okay? But they don't want the bad image. That's why they won't bring Bauer. That's why you don't have Puig. That's why you don't have, and you can keep filling in the blanks. But I'm going to make an argument. That's why you also won't have a World Series ring anytime soon. The team needs also some attitude and some swagger to it. I just don't see it. I don't see it. They're great community outreach guys. They're going to win you 98 games, 100 games or whatever, but I'm not seeing you're not getting it from the manager either. So you're right. These are grown men, and they're going to say and do what they want, but it also starts at the top, and I think it emulates a lot of that culture that you're bringing. And if Andrew Freeman and Dave Roberts and the brass that come in act a certain way and want certain things, the players – I don't know. I didn't pay enough attention. I don't know what's going on with my lights here. I'm getting so angry that I'm even affecting the electricity in my home. But I don't know what Betts was like in Boston. I didn't follow him along, so I'm not going to pretend like I knew exactly what his track record was as a Red Sox. I'd love to see that, or what he was like in the clubhouse. because I don't know. I don't know what it is about the Dodger vibe that just, I don't know. It's just a little bit different. I don't like the Padres at all, but it works for them, and they look very comfortable in their own skin yesterday. They just really did. Everyone's living off of that high of Ohtani hitting that home run on game 1. He struck out 5 times in 2 games and struck out 3 times yesterday, I believe, if I'm correct. And their best guy, Tatis, won 9 for 14? I mean, so that's what I'm saying. They're very comfortable. And so I'm really hoping this doesn't rub off on Ohtani also. I don't want to jinx it, but I don't know. There's something about the Dodger culture that I just don't know. It fires me up. It really does.
Hey, Jason. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I definitely agree that Dodgers don't have that type of attitude. That's not the team they are. I mean, we can go down the whole roster and we can say, oh wow, this guy's a nice guy. This guy's a good Christian man. All this stuff. I'm not even going to argue with you there. But that's not the reason we lost yesterday, though. The reason we lost yesterday was because Darvish actually pitched a really freaking good game, and we historically have not hit Darvish at all. And we didn't face him in the last series. We haven't faced him almost all season long because he's been out on personal leave and he's been hurt. But that's the reason we really lost. It's not because because Freeman didn't come out and throw a bucket of balls in the field after some shit happened. It's not. That's not the true reason we lost. We want that. We want that to be. We want our team to be fired up. I agree with you a lot, and I've always said on this live, Roberts doesn't have that attitude either. And I think the leader, Roberts being the leader, being the manager, I don't think it's a player. I think sometimes the manager too can be the guy who says, "Hey, let's get pumped up, man. We got to win this game." And look, tomorrow's game, to me, it's must win. If we don't win this game tomorrow, man, the next game's going to really be tough, especially how loud they are in San Diego. And so they got to find someone. I don't know who it is. Just pump them up at the beginning of the game. But ultimately, it's how you play on the field. It's how you deal with the stress of the fans booing you when something goes wrong for the Dodgers and they start clapping so loud. That's where that's the difference maker. Like right now we know, and I don't want to bash on players, but right now we know Betts, the last 3 postseasons, I think it was like he's batting 3 for 24, some crazy number. I mean, he's not built for the playoffs anymore. And maybe with Boston he was, but not with the Dodgers. After the 2020 season, he hasn't done much. We were talking about let's play our hot hands, and one of the hot hands we had said is Lux. Who's hitting the best right now? Lux and Edman. They have the highest average. Taylor was playing a good hand. I know a lot of people in the chat, they hate Taylor. I don't care, man. If he's playing a hot hand, we got to play him. I just think that's the way we're going to go. And now we don't have Freeman, who actually showed up to play game 1
Yeah, he did.
with his bum ankle, and now he's out. He might pinch hit. He might do a impersonation of Kirk Gibson at some point. But we are down some players, but I still believe the team can win.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of getting back to I mean, there's different players, right? All different type of characters of players, right? Padres have these type of players, Dodgers have these type of players. Another team might have, and we always think of if you grew up, kind of in the old school game, right? We always bring up like Tommy Lasorda. That type of manager doesn't exist. If you look down every manager in MLB, can you find me a manager that's like that? That's gonna, people always bring that up. Oh, we need somebody to go out there and fire them up. I don't know. I don't think there is a manager like that in MLB. I mean, the point is like Carlos was saying, like they got to find a way to win. And to me, it's like, yeah, I want to see that fire. I want to see these guys kind of, it's like I said, not necessarily to go out there and fight, but when a situation happens like that, I want to see these guys back each other up. I want them to be there for each other, right? Because I think that builds unity for the team, and it's going to make them stronger, and they're going to be able to go out there and perform. Like I said, a lot of things happen in that game, and yeah, you just kind of take it in, and like I said, let's see now how they're going to respond to that in game 3, because they got to come out, and to me, it's a must-win game. You got to take game 3 in, because that's going to be a crowd like you probably haven't heard all season or in a couple years, right? They're going to be loud, right? So you got to go in there, quiet that crowd, take a lead, win that game. That way, better or for worse, you're coming back home no matter what, right? Even if you lose the next game, you're going to come back home to game 5. So game 3 is crucial. You don't want to lose game 3 now, having your backs against the wall in game 4. I mean, that I think kind of that's kind of my thinking.
Yeah, here's where I'm so disappointed about. I normally you want to win your 2 games at home if you can, and I think for the Dodgers this year, the Padres came in and did their job. They needed to just take 1 out of 2, because the reality of it is, once you get past Flaherty, who do you got on the hill? Buehler? I don't have confidence that Buehler. Yes, he has a nice postseason track record, and hopefully that comes out tomorrow. But it's Buehler at the end of the day. I mean, he's not had a great year. He's shown some progress slowly but surely. But you're a guy who just, he just came in. He came in late into the season. He's progressing still. We had to win both of these games, and you got Knack and Buehler coming up. Knack's a nice guy, nice little pitcher out there. I don't think he's ever pitched in the postseason. So I think the Padres right now have the upper hand. They have the Dodgers where they want them. 1-1 with their 2 worst starters up there. They have no other aces. They have nothing else to go. There was to me, the must win was game 2 for the Dodgers. That was your best pitcher up there, and you lost the game. Now you're praying that Buehler, I'm not confident they're going to win game 3 because you got Buehler. And that guy, you want to talk about home runs, they're going to feast off of him. So this is where I'm going to look at Roberts for game 3. He's going to have to manage his butt off. He's going to have to, they're going to have to call a perfect game. I might even throw Austin Barnes out there tomorrow instead, just because he can call a game better than Smith anyways. And Smith hasn't shown a ton at the plate. It's just tomorrow you got to manage your butt off perfectly. Buehler's got to pitch a perfect game. Not literally, but he's got to be very, very good up there. And you got to manage that bullpen really, really well, because this is a guy who's going to give up runs. And it goes back again, when you have the kind of payroll on the Dodgers lineup, I expect them to hit guys like Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish is a good pitcher. I get that. He's not a Cy Young pitcher, not today, but he's a hittable guy. And I expect your best guys to hit this guy. And they didn't. So yes, ups to Yu Darvish, but they're making these guys look like they're Cy Young winners this year. And so I expect more out of this lineup. I expect them for their heart to just get a little slower, take a good deep breath, and just do their job at the plate like you're seeing the Padres do. That's why when I say they look comfortable up there, that's what I'm talking about. That swag leads to that comfort. That comfort leads to putting that bat on the ball. The Dodgers have struggled with that in the postseason. We saw that yesterday. I hope that's not tomorrow. But with Buehler up there tomorrow, I mean, the bats better come alive. And then you got Nat going game 4. Again, it could surprise me, but I think they need to make some adjustments. I think Mookie Betts needs to move down the order. I know Roberts does not have the what to do it. That's where I blame him. But Betts needs to come down. He has no business hitting number 2 or 3 right now. I would put Teoscar to hit number 2. This is a very different situation. The guy has been choking now for a few years. That's what Betts is. I'm sorry. Move him down the lineup, because here's what's going to happen. You keep Betts hitting second. I'm not pitching to Ohtani. Why would I pitch to Ohtani when you have a guy that's choking behind him? And that's what's going to start happening. They're going to start walking Ohtani to get to Betts if Betts doesn't start doing his job back there. That's what I'm worried about.
I mean, that may be the best case scenario, though. I mean, you walk Ohtani. Now this is going to motivate Betts to. And we've seen what he's done, early in the season, right? So
regular season, though,
yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing too. It's Roberts was mentioning this today. It's basically you just need Betts. You need all these players to do what they've done in the regular season, and that's all they need to do, right? So I don't know, Carlos, what were you going to say?
Well, walking Ohtani now, I think it's like almost an instant double. I don't think that's why they want to walk him. They haven't walked him. I think right now, I don't think that's a good game plan for the Padres. Go ahead, do it. I would love to see them do it. Maybe that'll give Betts motivation, because we've seen that during the regular season when they walk Ohtani, Betts comes up, he gets a hit. So try it. I mean, I love to see it. But you know what? Look, game 1, everything that you said, Jason, they did everything game 1. They came from behind. They got the home run. They got the clutch hit. They came. The bullpen stepped it up. I mean, we can't, as Dodger fans, we can't deny the truth. The fact is that our starting rotation is going to go 3-4 innings, and that's it. And it's all going to be about the bullpen. So, look, my money's on tomorrow's game, because why? Because we rested most of the bullpen guys who pitched game 1 on Saturday didn't pitch on game 2. We're talking about Vesia, Phillips, Kopech, and Trinan. So all those guys are going to be rested. So we got Sunday, Monday. So they got 2 days off, and they'll be ready to go on tomorrow's game. Meaning that Buehler, I only see him going 3-4 innings, and then we're going to do the same thing we did in game 1. The rest of the game, the bullpen. And if we can pull that off, then game 4, it's basically, if we're in it to win it, go ahead. Let's try to win it. If we lose the game early, just raise the white flag. Don't even bother, so that we can get some guys rested for game 5. I mean, that's been. Go ahead.
No, I'll say game 4 is more than likely it's a bullpen game for both teams. So that's kind of what you're looking at on the table for. They asked the Padres manager about Cease bringing back on short rest. He said anything's on the table, but I doubt they would do that for game 4. I think you're going to see more than likely you're going to see a bullpen game for both teams in game 4.
Yeah, it's probably going to be started by Knack, right? Or probably do that 1 inning by somebody, and then Knack will go 2-3 if he can keep the balls inside of the field and not allow too many home runs. But I mean, it's like we're like dooming the Dodgers because they won game 1, you guys. They lost. Yeah, they got their ass kicked on game 2, but that's because we didn't pitch our best bullpen guys. They pitched all on game 1. I mean, it's almost like a strategy the Dodgers are doing. This is, game 1, got to win. Game 2, hey, if we can pull it off, great. Game 3, let's put all our guys in. Game 4, if we can pull it off, great. If we don't, hey, game 5 is a must win. And one thing that you did say, Jason, is that they always say that nobody's won anything until they win a road game. And so I do agree with you, because the Padres won that road game, won that game at Dodger Stadium. They do hold the upper hand, because right now they're going to go at home. And we know, Roger, you and I know, the fans, the people here in the chat, dude, the Padre fans are going to be freaking out of control tomorrow. It's going to be loud tomorrow. You won't be able to hear shit when they're doing the pitch calls. They're going to be doing a lot of this, tapping their hat. So, they're going to have to deal with that. But I still think they can pull it off. Like I said, I'm not worried about Buehler, because he's only going to go 3 innings. If he goes beyond 3, then we won. Then we know it's a good game. But I think he goes 3. And then another thing I want to mention is Cease is another Cy Young type pitcher, and we did well against him. And you know what? We did well against him too in the last series, just like we did well against King in the last series. So I'm not worried about King this time around. I think the Dodgers have figured out how to hit him. I just think Darvish, I don't know what he does to the Dodgers. He fucking puts a spell. And I don't know, maybe the Prince of Darkness puts a curse on the Dodgers when Darvish pitches. I don't know what it is, but it's Darvish has the Dodgers number, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so Michael King's going for them game 3. He pitched a hell of a game in the wild card series, right, against the Braves, right? I don't expect him to pitch that good in this game. It was against the Braves, right, for one thing. So I expect the Dodgers to hit him, to get a couple runs, right? So if they can get a couple runs off of him, and Buehler, we've put up a lot of the videos of the interviews prior. I suggest that you guys check them out. They're on our YouTube page. And me and Carlos were talking about this earlier. You kind of get this vibe from Buehler, this demeanor, right? And I paid close attention to this even like last year when Arizona came into town, and I would listen to some of their players. I would listen to their management, their manager, and I would get a different vibe from them as listening to, say, the Dodger players. But I heard Buehler today, and he's on a different vibe. You're hoping that he's going to be able to. We don't need him to go out there 6-7 innings, right? If he can give him 4 or 5, 2 runs, 3 runs, I expect the Dodgers can cover 2 to 3 runs, right? Now, if you can't, like I said, like you were mentioning, there's a problem there, right? If your stars can't go out and cover 2 to 3 runs, then we have a problem. So I mean, that's kind of where that's my thinking. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, it's going to be a slugfest. I think tomorrow you're going to see a high-scoring game. I do. I hope we come on the other end of it. I think Michael King's a great pitcher, but I think we can get to him. Like Carlos said, I agree with that. I think the Dodgers are going to come out a little bit more fired up than what we're used to seeing them. Because if what happened yesterday doesn't fire you up, then we've got major problems. And so I think you're going to see at least an 8-6 type of game or something like that. I think we have a better I'm more confident of a bullpen game 4 than tomorrow's game 3 matchup, to be honest with you. If I had to pick a game, I think we have a better shot at game 4 and tying it up then and bringing it back, which is fine. I'll take one. I think the Dodgers just have to do the same thing the Padres did, is take one of those 2 games. But look, going in, I think this is what most experts said. The Dodgers, a lot of injuries. We're down several pitchers, right? Several, not just a couple, several pitchers, including Ohtani, because he is on payroll as a pitcher and he did not pitch this year. And so the bats had to come alive. There's just no way about it. We're not going to win games if we're just scoring 4 runs a game. That's not who we are, because we just don't have the staff behind it. And so that's why I'm being so critical about the bats. And if Freeman's not in that lineup, and I haven't heard the latest, if it sounds like he's not going to be in the lineup tomorrow, you're already down a bat that started hot. And I give that guy credit.
I think he is. They're leaning towards he is. They said today he was feeling a bit better, but it's still not like 100%. Like, it's a game time decision pretty much, but it kind of looks like he will be.
Can I make a dumb suggestion? And you can tell me if I'm an idiot, and the people on the chat can tell me if I'm an idiot for thinking this. But am I the only one out there thinking that if his ankle is bothering him that much, we make him the DH and put Ohtani at first base?
I mean, if Ohtani had played first base, or during the season,
Ohtani. I feel like that dude can play anything. I mean, think about it. It's crazy.
I mean that is
crazy though.
Yeah, that's the logical. Like, if you don't have, if your DH isn't Ohtani, then yeah, you're like, well, let's put Freeman just to bat, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't think they would do that, because I don't think Ohtani has any experience at first base, at least not this year.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've been thinking about that ever since he hurt his ankle. Gosh, that could be a strategy, to have the guy take some balls I feel like he's athletic enough that he could do it. But then again, you don't want to put that on him in the postseason the minute he makes an error, and then that's the only thing you're reading the next day. So, but yeah, someone's saying on the chat, it wouldn't be the worst thing if Kike starts. No, I mean, Kike, I mean, you do need to change things up. And I think when you talk about flair and you talk about having a swag, I think you need guys like Kike in the lineup. It's nice to have him on the bench and doing that, but I think the guy deserves a start. Muncy hasn't done a heck of a whole lot other than the meaningless home run that happened in the 9th that everybody calls it. But if he wouldn't have hit that, I might have started Kike over Muncy. But well, I don't know. I just think they need to change something. If you see the same lineup tomorrow, I'm a little disappointed, but I don't know. I could be disappointed.
I think actually, Roger, correct me if I'm wrong, just to Dave's point about Kike starting, I think Kike is starting third base and Muncy's going to start first base. I think that's how they're going to have
Makes
it
sense.
since Freddie's not playing. But look, overall, look, we the top guys right now are Tommy Edman and Gavin Lux, batting .429, obviously just 2 games. I know we're all bashing on Smith too, who doesn't have a hit, but he's walked 4 times. So his OPS is 500 because he's walked half of his at bat. So that's not bad. Hey, look, just like they say in Little League, right? A walk's as good as a hit. Hey, he's getting on base, period.
Yeah.
So
at least he's not striking out, right?
Exactly. And the other one, that the unsung hero, honestly, dude, is Miguel Rojas has, and I'm saying, I'm being a little sarcastic. I'm saying that he hasn't ground to any double plays. He's popped it up. He knows that he's 9th batter, Ohtani's next, give him a chance to bat, and that's exactly what he's done. He hasn't grounded out. I think he popped up a bunt attempt, right? Roger, is that correct? I think in game 1. Yeah, and I was like, great job, At least you didn't go, no triple play around the horn. So the only guy, honestly, that just not, I don't know what's wrong with him is Betts. Everybody else is, I'm not saying that we're all batting 300 or anything like that, but Betts is the only guy that just hasn't really done much. He struck out 3 times. He's walked twice though, but he struck out 33% of his at bats. So he's striking out at least in every 3 at bats once. So he's really, like I was saying, he's going to be the X factor. If he steps it up, it helps the Dodgers lineup. If not, Jason's right. It would be great to put Lux or someone up there, but we know that's not going to happen. There's no way. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how bad this guy would feel if Robert said, hey, you know what? I'm throwing you 9th. We're going to bring up Lux or Edman to bat 2nd so we can get somebody who puts the ball in play. Yeah, it's not happening, but I mean, that's just, he's got to figure it out. Hopefully tomorrow's game, something clicks and he gets 1 hit. He just needs 1 hit to get going.
I mean, what's going to do it is just they need to string some runs across, right? Some hits, some runs. They start hitting, if they hit some home runs. We've seen them before, right? They hit some home, they're all celebrating, right? They're throwing sunflower seeds at each other, right? They're hyped up. They're in that moment. They're all excited, right? Yesterday was a bad game, right? Padres had all the momentum. They hit the home runs, right? They're acting it up. They're all hyped, right? Dodgers didn't have that chance. So the moment the Dodgers start doing that, they score some runs. They score 3, 4, 5 runs. They're hitting home runs. We're going to be seeing like, yeah, this team is totally hyped, right? They're jumping around. They're bouncing off the walls. Like I said, they're throwing sunflower seeds at each other. So that's what they need to do. They just need to score, right? It's as simple as it sounds, right? They need to score and get those runs on the board. And if they do that, especially early in San Diego, I think you're going to quiet the Padre players down. You're going to quiet the crowd down.
Yeah.
And that's, like we said, it sounds super simple, right? But you got to do it.
And they need to, and I say the management, I think they need to, a guy like Mookie Betts, if he's struggling, have him lay a bunt down. Give him not that he needs anyone's permission, but maybe I'll call it encouragement instead of permission. But let the guy change it up a little bit. Something I give big kudos to Edmund for doing this the other day, right? For seeing a hole and doing that. There was a huge hole all the time in game one, and they're not doing that. I mean, what happened to Rojas, with the triple play and that incident there, I don't blame Rojas. I blame Roberts. I believe it was Roberts who called off the bunt. That's ridiculous. So that's what I'm saying. They better coach their butt off tomorrow. You got to do these little things. If you're going to have to play small ball to manufacture runs, then you got to do those kinds of things. And you got to ask guys to do unusual things. Now, if they're not practicing this, not that they should need that, but even at that level, you need to practice putting down a bunt. Then that's on the coaching staff. But you got to find a way to change things up. If you're going to play the same thing over and over again, you're going to lose.
We've gone over this so many times. Nobody bunts. They don't practice bunting. That is not a thing.
Lot of teams bunt though. More than us.
There's certain guys that will bunt. Maybe the lower on the lineup guys, not a lot of power guys. Maybe those guys will lay down the bunt. But for most guys, they do not bunt. They don't even work on bunting. It's not a skill that they use anymore. Yes, like I said, there's a couple guys that will do it, but it's not something that teams do.
But yeah, Jason, you're right. So that one play you're talking about where he grounds into the triple play, that's the reason he kept bunting, and that's why he popped up, because I'm sure they didn't take the sign off, because he pumped. I mean, he attempted to bunt, he missed, or I think he held, and then I think on the third pitch he still bunted again, and they popped it up. So yeah, Roberts learned from that previous mistake and said, you know what, I'd rather have this guy just get out at first or at third. Or it didn't matter. Just no double plays, because that's what you're trying to avoid. And so that's what I'm saying. Miggy on the last, I think in the first game, he avoided the double play twice, that pop-up bunt, and then he had another out somewhere else where he avoided double play. Because you know what? You're the ninth batter. Otani's next. Just give him a chance to bat. Anything can happen. And you guys been watching the on the Fox FS1. Now they have that little kind of like a picture of Otani, like a ticker, like 3 more batters for Otani to bat and shit. It's like, man. So I get it. He's on fire. He was on fire first game. Yeah, you're right. Second game, it wasn't the best, but I still rather have Otani go up there with 2 outs and runners on base than Miggy, trying to get a hit, because not that Miggy's bad or anything. It's just avoid the double play. We got to give our best hitter a chance to score some runs.
Do you put Mookie Betts to lead off again to change things up?
I just think Otani's a great leadoff hitter, man. I think his stats show it. Early on when we were doing the lives in the middle of the season, just the stats were great on Otani leading off, not just leading off the beginning of the game, but leading off any inning. His stats were off the chart. And Mookie Betts wasn't bad, but Otani was way better. So yeah, I think it's the right move they did. Right now, I don't know if that's what's affecting Betts, that he's batting second. I would even go and move him back. Maybe he's better at batting third, and there's less pressure there. Not sure, but we know that's not going to happen. We know tomorrow's lineup is going to look very similar to what we've seen in game 1 and game 2. The difference is going to be Kike and Muncy switching positions because Freddie can't play.
I mean, I don't. Like I said, I don't think that Freddie's not in the lineup tomorrow. I think he's in the lineup again. He's had a day off. They've been working on him. He'll be in that lineup until he can't go again. But I see him being in there. But I want to see Pages in there, but I don't see how you can get Pages in the game, right? Like how can you get him in the game right now? Mm-hmm. Like you're taking someone out, you're taking Edmund out, or how else can you move that lineup, add different guys in there without really kind of changing up that lineup?
Yeah, and I don't think they have any lefties coming their way, right, in this series with the Padres.
No.
Starters, anyways. Yeah. So then that you're not going to see a lot of moves there in terms. That's what I'm afraid of with Kike in there. He's he murders the left-handers, but I'm not so sure how he's going to do. And I think that's why they've been playing that same lineup. But yeah, I don't know. You can't sit Tommy Edman down. The guy's been doing really well out there. And I like him in center field too, to be honest with you. So I think that's going to be the only move. I'm not as positive that Freeman's. It just depends how bad that guy is in pain. And we know that if he can't make it out tomorrow, it's not because he's not doing his darndest. Because man, I was impressed when Freeman stole that base the other night. No one expected him to take that bag. That took balls. It really did. And I thought that that says a lot. It sends a message to your team. Because when he stretched out that leg in that replay, when you're looking at that, I'm going, geez, what are you doing? But I give the guy a lot of credit. He's a gamer.
And Freeman has, Freeman has shown this, like, right, that steal with his ankle jacked up like that. If you remember, there was a play in, I think it was like game 1 last year where he was running to first, and I don't know if he like slid or like he dove or something, right, to get to serve to be at first base and make it safe. Like we know what this guy's about, and this guy is out there to play. And that's why I'm saying, like, unless the pain is to that point where it was, yesterday when he said, I got to, get out of the game, I think he'll be in there. So, I think that's their best lineup. I mean, he needs to be in there, because if you don't have him in there and Mookie's struggling, you got one guy, right? One guy that that can, from your 3 MVPs, now you're down to one guy. Unless Mookie starts, he starts hitting and starts doing something tomorrow, right? So for me, I'm hoping he could be in there and continue to play and give him something. Carlos?
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow is, like I said, tomorrow's must win. I like Roy Estrada. I like his attitude. Tomorrow's a new game. It's 0-0. It's not 10-2. We don't continue that score. It's 0-0. And, just one inning, one batter at a time. Hopefully we can score some runs at the beginning of the game, and we can shut them out in the first inning for the first time in this series. Those are keys of the game right there. I mean, hopefully another key is Betts getting a hit. The bottom of the lineup hasn't been bad at all. They actually been really good. Mm-hmm. So it's a top of the lineup that needs to, show why they make the big bucks and why they're the MVP candidates. So that's what we need. We need the top guys to show up. I mean, I'm really shocked that you're saying that Freddie might play. Look, if he plays, that's great. I think that'll be great if he plays. I don't know. I thought I heard somewhere that he's only considered for pinch hitting, but hopefully I'm wrong and it's not what I heard, that Kike is playing the third and Muncy at first. But we'll see. Probably a game time decision. And and we're all hoping Buehler of old.
Not from what Robert said today. He said he still doesn't know, but he said I would think he's playing, but obviously that can change. But that's kind of from what was the latest today. But
right, and we know how Freddie is. Freddie is like, I mean, that guy doesn't want to miss a game. So if he's saying that and he's capable of playing, he'll strap it on. I've twisted my ankle lots of times. I have like a bum ankle because of how many times I twisted it. So I know the pain, but there's a lot of stuff you can put on to try to isolate the ankle. So yeah, I think he'll play then in that case.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we started, I wanted to go a kind of a different route, right? But we kind of just went on to this. But one thing I do want to get back to is, how the Dodger fans were pissed off yesterday, right? They were throwing things and not condoning, throwing anything onto the field, right? Yes, be vocal, yell, shout, whatever you want to do, right? And the Padres have those guys, like you said, they get under your skin, but you don't let them get under your skin, because these guys are trying to do that, right? I don't know if you saw this clip of Tatis. I mean, he was out there trying to get under the skin of Dodgers.
Your balls are so small.
So I have a problem with that. I have a
You have
huge
a-
problem with that. Yeah, I'm not trying to condone what the fans did yesterday, but you know what? I'm not surprised, and I'm not surprised. I think the Padres deserve that. They have some. Again, I'm going to flip the switch now. Yes, this helped them at the plate, and if it's going to help them win games, then go at it. But the repercussion to that is that's ridiculous. This is what I'm saying. This is the disrespect that we're getting now from some of these players nowadays when it comes to the game. It really is. It's a show. And if you listen to his interview when they interviewed him post game, that's exactly what Tatis said. It's a show. He goes, I'm trying to give them a show. That's the problem. That should not have happened. But that is their culture. That is who they are. That's the way they act. And to me, I'm going to flip it a little bit, and I'm going to put the blame on the Padres. You want to act like that. You're going to incite fans. They've been to Dodger Stadium before. He's not a rookie. He knew exactly what he was doing. Tatis and that group. They know who sits at those stands. The bleachers at Dodger Stadium, very different than any other outfield in any other ballpark in all of the United States of America. Very different. And he knew exactly what he was taunting. He knew exactly what he was inciting. And he got what he wanted. So for them to pretend like, oh my God, they're throwing a baseball at me. Well, what did you expect? So I'm not condoning it, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. And I guarantee you, if they would have done that in Philadelphia, they would have had the same result. If they would have done that in many other ballparks in America, the same result would have happened. So I don't also just want to point the finger at the Dodger fans like we're something special. I think this would have happened in many other ballparks. But the Padres are not every team. And not every team in Major League Baseball or their outfield acts as ridiculous as they did yesterday. The Machados, the Tatis, I don't like any of them. I don't think they're likable people. There's those people kind of like how Meta World Peace is and Ron Artest. You love him when he's on your team, but you hate him when he's not on your team kind of guy. That's who those guys are. But that right there, that's ridiculous. It's stupid. If I was the coach of that team, if I was the manager, I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Just turn around. Turn around. Don't play these games with the fans. I just think it's stupid.
Yeah, and that wasn't the only part. Like he was also they caught him on camera. He was like hand gesturing. And then it's like I get it. The fans are gonna, like I said, they're gonna be vocal. They're gonna yell at you. But you're a professional. Kind of you should learn to just kind of let it bounce off you, right? So that is something like just let it go. Just let it go. And I think that really got under the fans at the stadium, right? That really got under the skin too. But also that's like, you know what? Just let it go too. That's how he is. Just let it go.
Machado threw a baseball at the Dodgers dugout.
Yeah,
we should be talking about that than a fan throwing a baseball in the field.
I have that. I have the clip from Roberts of how it kind of went down, and this is what he said today.
Last night, did the ball that Machado threw into your dugout almost hit you, and did you feel like that should have been an ejection? Because Tripp Gibson went over there right away to try to intervene, but that seemed to be what sparked the jawing between Flaherty and Machado. Did it almost hit you? Did you know that it came
I didn't
in hot?
know. I didn't notice it at the time. I really didn't. I didn't notice it. I did see the video, and it was unsettling. Obviously, I have a relationship with Manny from years past. There was intent behind it. It didn't almost hit me because there was a net, and that was very bothersome. If it was intended at me, I'd be very. It's pretty disrespectful. So I don't know his intent. I don't want to speak for him, but I did see the video, and the ball was directed at me with something behind it. So, but I don't know what led to that. I didn't see it in real time, but I did see the video.
Did you feel after seeing the video he should have been ejected for that?
I don't think they should have had a little arm around each other conversation. If players can throw balls at opposing managers.
You said that you felt the ball was directed at you.
After I saw the video.
Did you have any dialogue with Manny before that?
The only dialogue I had was he was chirping at Jack, and I looked at him and shook my head, and making a point that we wouldn't hit him on purpose to lead off an inning being down 2 runs. And again, the point being is I think he's using it as fuel. As a baseball person, anyone understands that you don't do that intentionally to put the leadoff man on base. With 3, 4, 5 coming up behind. It just makes no sense.
So, I mean, just there's no way around it. I mean, just tomorrow's game, there's going to be so much heat, right? I mean, now you have the Dodgers manager Dave Roberts. He's saying he's thinking Machado threw a ball at him, right? So it's going to be must see TV, right? It's like get your popcorn out because I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in tomorrow's game, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, I hope the Dodgers players are paying attention to this stuff. There's been videos of Machado talking. There's this stuff that comes out today, right? And like I said, I don't need them to be fired up to like, hey, I want to go out there and fight you guys, right? I want them to be fired up to like, hey, you know what? We find that disrespectful, and we're gonna answer that on the field, right? And that's what I'm hoping tomorrow. They come out and they're fired up, and they're able to do something about that if they felt they've been disrespected or they disrespected their manager.
Yeah, let me touch on. So, man, the storylines are great. Our maybe just our intensity. The Padre fans, the Dodger fans, we just dislike each other so much that we want there to be more than what we're actually seeing. So, I think it's fine. I think if that works for you to get you pumped up and get you hyped up for the next game, for the next at bat, whatever it is, do it. That's fine. I think it's good for baseball. I think what Manny was trying to do was throwing the ball. I think he accidentally threw it too hard into it because he almost hit Teoscar, is who he almost hit, not Roberts. And Teoscar does go to the top of the rail and yell something back to Manny, and then that's when Roberts realizes what's going on. If you watch that video, there's a video of that.
There's it's kind of hard to see, but this is it.
Designated hitter.
So you see him. Like you see the Oscar right there.
Your team,
I agree with what Robert said. He said he had a little something behind it, and he did. You can tell, right? The way he tossed the ball was a little extra on it, little English on it, and I think it was directed at the team, and it was done a little bit on purpose. Look, I'm gonna do another crazy take here, and maybe an unpopular take, but if this was old school, and if I'm the manager tomorrow, I'm giving Buehler the permission, first at bat, first pitch, right at Machado, give him that chin music, send a message. I'd be the first one to send the message right away, and that's what I would order tomorrow. Or I'd throw behind him, because here's what's going to happen. They're going to get upset, but the umpire's immediately going to give each bench a warning. Padres are going to get upset. That's going to throw them off. That's going to take away the Padres' hand to throw back at the Dodgers. That's what I would do tomorrow mentally to get ahead of the game. It's not going to happen, but that's what I would do.
I mean, unless the game starts where they issue the warnings from the beginning of the game, then I wouldn't be surprised if Walker throws a little bit of chin music at somebody, right? I mean, if he goes kind of tight in somebody, I wouldn't be surprised by that.
Yep.
And would they offer a warning then? I mean, who knows? But like you said, yeah, if somebody's going to do it, right? I mean, you better be the first one that does that, because if the Padres do that, then now even if you miss or accidentally a ball slips out of your hand or whatever, and you hit somebody, you're going to get ejected.
I think you do it for your team, and you also do it for your fans, to be honest with you. I think you do it for the people watching at home. You do it for the ones that are going to be at the stadium. You do it for the people back home that want to see that happen. Again, those are the kinds of things that build team. If you need to clear the benches at some point, then you'll clear the benches at some point if you have to. Shoot, I'll find a reason to clear the benches. If I'm Dave Roberts, if I have to get kicked out of a game, I get kicked out of a game. There's a lot. I think those are the things you have to do to send a message to your team to get them fired up. And so there's a lot of different things you can do here. You can't go into tomorrow and just say, hey, guys, stay focused, play your game, yada, 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 yada. Every team stays focused differently. I think like you guys said and some people said in the chat, if this is what keeps the Padres focused, if I'm the Padres manager, I'm telling these guys, keep doing what you're doing because it's working for you, right? I mean, they might. But if I'm the Dodgers, I find a way to take control of the game immediately by sending a message. Unless, like you said, they start the game with a warning, then your hands are tied.
Yeah, I mean, I somewhat agree with that, but it's like also too, you don't want to do stuff that's going to put your team now at a disadvantage, right? Whether somebody gets kicked out, even I think, hey, they kick out Dave Roberts, I think you're putting your team at a disadvantage.
Are you really?
Yes, because now you're you're having to do
Really?
something- you're having to do something
He should have got
different.
fired a year ago, to be honest with you. I'd be doing him a favor.
You're doing something different now that you're not normally used to doing. How the team operates.
I disagree.
You're gonna
I
put
think
them at
that
a disadvantage.
I think that I think it's the complete opposite. I think by doing that, you shake shit up. You shake your team like, oh man,
Okay,
you got kicked out. Sometimes you need to do that.
So who manages Bob Guerin? And Bob Guerin,
Any one of those guys can.
he's gonna be
Come
like,
on,
I don't know what I
it's
have
baseball.
to do.
Anybody can put a lineup. You can go out there, Roger, and put a lineup together on AI right now. You can type it up literally on an AI app and tell you what the Dodger lineup should be. These managers are overrated nowadays for what they do out there. The only job they got to do, they get a piece of paper from all the nerds up there that tell them what to put in a lineup tomorrow. Any guy with half a brain of baseball can do those little changes. And Roberts hasn't really impressed me as an in-game guy anyway. Look, I'm being facetious, obviously, but what I'm saying is I don't think it's that big of a disadvantage if they need to. I think those are the things you need to do as a manager. You can put in, I'm drawing a blank, Pryor. I've always said, if they fire Roberts tomorrow, I'd give Pryor the team. That guy looks very cerebral. I'd love to see what he could do with the team.
I mean, what you're saying, like, yeah, I get maybe
we will be fine without Roberts, JR.
Don't do as much as people think that they actually do. But yeah, when Roberts makes a move, or I'm just gonna say any manager, when they make a move that works out, oh, you don't really hear like, oh, that was a great move, right? But when they put in a pitcher, right, and that pitcher gives up a home run or a lead, it's like, why they use that pitcher, right? It's baseball, like you said. Anything could happen. That guy could have went out there and done this, struck out the side, right? But he gave up a home run, and now we're blaming that on the manager, right? So that really doesn't make sense. Carlos?
Man,
we both went to Carlos. Carlos. Oh, this is great, man. This is the kind of debate we need to have.
Yeah,
this is the kind of debate, Roger. I don't think the Dodgers are this fired up. I'm kidding.
No, tell me about it. No, man, I'm trying to be like the peacemaker. I'm getting killed here on the comments, but you know what? Look, I always said that Roberts needs to have more fire in him. Is getting kicked out at the beginning of the game the best for the team overall? I think not too. Maybe in the middle of the game, maybe the fourth, fifth inning, if calls are not going the right way, shit's not happening. Yeah, and you need something to pump up the team, then I say yes. But not at the beginning of the game, And yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, if Robert gets kicked out, he hands over his lineup card to one of the bench coaches, and they can manage the team. I don't think it's a huge loss, but just like I guess in like as a team manager, you don't want to just get kicked out just to get kicked out. It's got to be a good reason. You got to show your teams, hey, look, I'm staying up for you guys on whatever happens, however the game happens tomorrow. There'll be a point of the game where, yeah, there's Robert's chance to stand up for his team. If that shit again happens, where somebody tosses the ball or somebody pitches high and tight, yeah, then that's when Roberts should go out to the home plate umpire and say, hey, what the hell's going on? Issue a warning or kick this guy out or do something, and then that can fire up the team. Not just, hey, let's just get fired up at the beginning of the game and we get kicked out and goodbye. There's got to be a message behind it. We can't just be irrational and just let the emotions get the best of us. Because ultimately, man, tomorrow's game, like I said, it's a must win. We got to do our best. We got to keep our composure. And yeah, it's going to be nasty. And this whole throwing things on the field, and I'm watching the news, I'm watching the reporters, I'm watching all this garbage, and everybody's like, oh, Dodger fans, you should be embarrassed, this and that. If you Google baseball game, what I Google? I Googled baseball fans throwing stuff on the field history. It happens all the time. Yankee fans throws trash at players.
There was one a couple years ago in San Diego where they threw a beer can at Cody Bellinger.
So it's
the drunk fans, the unruly fans, and every baseball franchise has those type of
fans. And they just love. Yeah, they just love pointing at Dodger fans, because how we get that the thug mentality out here at Dodger Stadium and all that garbage. Not every Dodger fan behaves that way. It's just a few. Just like if you're going to generalize 10 Dodger fans who threw beer bottles and 3 who threw the balls or whatever, and generalize the whole fucking fan base, that's just ridiculous. That's like saying 2 bad teachers, that means all LAUSD teachers are bad. 2 bad cops, all LA. No, that doesn't work that way. There's going to be bad people, period, in every aspect of life. So if 10 fans threw beers, and so what? That's 10 bad fans. So what? Kick them out, find them, whoever they are, and that's it. And like you guys were saying, Tatis and Profar, they were poking at the players too, and we're getting our ass kicked, and sometimes the fans show more fire than the players themselves do. Like us, look at us right now. We're like going crazy here because we just have that passion for our fan base. We love the Dodgers. We love baseball, and we want to win. And so I just think that the Dodger fans are just like every other fan base. The Phillies, the Padres, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Cubs, all hardcore fan bases, and they do the same shit all the time.
I mean, Boatman's crazy takes that he's having, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that I have that take or you have that take, right? I mean,
Man, don't have a Red Bull before.
We're not going to generalize it to being, Boatman, right?
Can I say one thing about Profar though? How ridiculous did he look in the middle of the game? Oh, they're crying. Like, what was going on? The umpires, security, he brought his whole family out on the field to huddle around this guy. I looked at my wife. I go, look how ridiculous he looks out there crying. They want to go there and taunt the fans and act like they're big shots, and then he's out there crying because some fan threw a ball at him at 10 miles per hour. He tossed it over there. Like, I mean, I think they looked ridiculous too. Profar looked ridiculous out there. I mean, you can blame the fans all you want, but he's the reason they had to stop the game for like 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know what was going on in the field. You thought they were smoke bombs or something going out there. He brought all the umpires and out there and the security. Like, what for? What, a one baseball? And the guy's crying his heart. They made these guys love to put on a show. The Padres love to put on a show. That's what they did yesterday. They stole the attention. They're drama. Yes, that's right. They're drama queens is exactly what they are. And so I think the Dodgers just need to get ahead of that and take charge with their own type of attitude. I'm not saying match that kind of intensity. You don't want to look ridiculous. To me, the Padres look ridiculous yesterday. Yes, they won the game. Someone said earlier they did win the game, but they looked ridiculous out there. And I think they should be more embarrassed than the fans that the few fans, like Carlos said, that acted ridiculous yesterday. Out of 55,000, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 that threw some stuff out there. So they look dumb. I don't hope our Dodger players don't act like that. I think there's a different way to bring the game. If you don't take it out on the fans. I'd rather them take it out on each other. That's why I go back to my old school mentality. Throw it at the chin. Back them up a little bit. Do it the way they did it in the 80s out there. But don't do it out there with the fans and all. That's just dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're going to go that route, like I said, but I think the route they got to go is they just got to answer back, score some runs. Let your bats do the talking, right? Put some runs on the board, and then I think you take them out of their game, whatever they're trying to do. Even if they want to try and get under their skin, if you build enough lead, I think they'll be fine. So
I would unleash Decoy in the middle of the game and have him go bite him in the. No, I'm kidding. Whatever. I know that's a stupid take for you, Roger. You can edit that one out. We love Decoy. Maybe who knows? Maybe he's crazy. Maybe the dog is like Cujo or some shit. Put him out there in the dugout. We need to do something different, guys. Damn it, go with me here. Maybe put the dog in the dugout.
In the dugout, rally Decoy or something, right?
Come on.
The shirts are red. I can see the shirts. Rally Decoy. His face is on there, right?
Go. Isn't it the Mets have that dumb OMG thing and they take a photo with that thing? No, bring out
Grimace,
Decoy.
Right? They had Grimace too, right?
Bring out Decoy. There you go.
Rally Decoy. We'll start it, right? Rally Decoy. But I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and we'll see what goes down tomorrow. But we plan on going pregame tomorrow as well. So games at 6, probably go on about at 5. And then we plan to go on after the game as well. And hopefully we're talking about a Dodger victory after the game. Maybe about 10, 15 minutes after that ends, we'll come back on and, just come and join the chat and tell us how you're feeling tomorrow night and pregame how you're feeling about the game going into it. So, but you guys got anything else?
If they lose tomorrow, Roger, don't even invite me back because this is going to be bad. If you thought tonight was bad.
Let's before we go, let's do some predictions. And let's be honest, Boatman.
Just tomorrow's game, right?
You guys start. Don't put me on the spot. You guys go first. Let me think about this. Hit my head.
You want to go first, Roger? Come on, you guys in the chat. Let's see your predictions for tomorrow's game.
Hurry up, guys, in the chat. Put it on there.
Carlos, what do you think?
Tomorrow, I agree with Boatman. There's going to be a lot of runs. I think I got to go with my Dodgers. I think the score will be 6-3 Dodgers.
All right. I mean, I'm hoping, and I hope this is actually what happens if the Dodgers come out fired up and they put some runs on the board early, whether that's the first, second, third inning, right? They get an early lead, and yeah, probably win something like 6-3 or something like that.
I think we go extra innings. I think it goes 11 innings, and I think the Dodgers win 8-7.
Hey, why wouldn't you say something different, something out there?
Okay, I think
At
we
least you're
forfeit the
consistent.
game like a 94. No, I think we go into extra innings, and then Decoy comes in, and then they cancel the game. But no, I think it's gonna be close.
And if they go into extra innings, there's no none of that ghost runner stuff. Not in the playoffs.
No,
So.
I love it.
So-
But I think it's gonna go extra. I don't know why. I can't see it, but I
Hey,
hope we come.
look at some of these scores. I love it.
9-4
Brett-
Dodgers, Denny. That's what Denny has.
Brett has 11-4.
Hey, Mookie
Roy
snaps
has
his streak
8-2.
with an infield single. You know what, Dave? I'll take that. Anything to get Mookie going that he can build on from there.
That's
Right?
a good take, Dave. That's a good take. I think so too. It might be a bunt too that Boatman was mentioning earlier. It
Well,
might be a
I'll tell you
bunt
what.
single.
If Mookie Betts gets hit, we know that wasn't on purpose because that'd be dumb. That's whose head we know they're not going after.
Oh my
You
god!
put it down the middle to Mookie.
Hey, isn't it his birthday today?
Ah,
Mookie's birthday.
Yeah. So happy
no
birthday,
cake
Mookie.
for you, Mookie.
We got a 7-4 Dodgers.
I think Mookie gets a couple hits tomorrow. I think he'll get a couple
right.
hits. Maybe one early, one later in the game.
Isn't that wall in the corner kind of short? So maybe he goes the other way and he hits a 320-foot home run tomorrow. There you go.
There you
That's
go.
my prediction.
There you go.
All right, so we'll go ahead and just put this on the bed, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow about 5:00. Come back, join us, get in your pregame predictions for tomorrow, how you're feeling tomorrow. But again, once again, thanks you guys for joining us on this one, and we'll see you on the next one. This episode was brought to you by Bet Online.